Janet Johnson is a defense attorney licensed in Colorado. Anne-Marie McAvoy is a former federal prosecutor. Janet, let me start with you. Competency is understanding the charges against you and assisting in your defense. That sounds easy, but I would point your attention to the Tucson shooter. It's been a year and a half, and Jared Loughner has yet to be held competent to stand trial. He's refusing to take his meds. He's schizophrenic, and the state's trying to force him. So, I mean, conceivably, that could happen here, couldn't it?
Yeah, and when they say he's refusing to talk, it could be he doesn't know what's going on. There were some reports, and they weren't confirmed, but that people at the jail said he was spitting, he was behaving erratically, and he wasn't seeming to be competent. That's what I suspect is going to happen, and that's why today's an important step. It's the initial advisement where he's told what the charges are and whether he can comprehend that and who the judge is, who his lawyer is. Like you said, it sounds simple, but if he's that ill, it won't be simple for him, and he will go to a hospital.
Now, Anne-Marie, let's assume he gets past competency. Then the issue becomes insanity. Now, all of the planning and preparation, the calculation would seem to prove sanity. But what if this man lives in an alternative reality? What if he really does think he is the Joker, a character in a comic strip in a movie? And he's living in this fictional universe in which bullets don't really kill. So in his mind, he's not actually murdering people. He's playing a role. Would that negate the intent to kill and qualify as insanity?
Well, it's going to be a problem. The prosecutors are going to have to deal with that. They're going to have to look at him and see. I think that it's going to be difficult, though, for the defense to actually show that that's the case, because he was going to school. He apparently completed the first year, and only a few weeks ago was taking tests and so on at school. So if he really did live in such an alternate universe, he wouldn't have been able to do all of that. And the other question is, even when you're talking about competency, or the insanity, is he smart enough to be able to put on all these airs, to act like he's crazy, to, in order to be hopefully found, in his view, insane, as opposed to having to face the death penalty.
But you know what, Janet, the guy who ran the rifle range said he called up on the phone, the answering machine for the defendant was incoherent. It was sort of this Batman-inspired, rambling discourse. Of course, before he shot up the movie theater, he said, "I'm the Joker." When he was captured, he said, "I'm the Joker." And then, he began, almost in character, this hideous laughter characteristic of the comic book character, the Joker. Boy, do you have serious reservations about this guy's sanity?
Well, if he's faking it or malingering, as we say, he's been doing it for a long time, and I think that would be a very difficult order to prove. I suspect, that's the problem with insanity and irresistible impulse, which is part of Colorado's insanity, is you could fake it. Presumably professionals who test him will be able to tell if he's malingering, but he's been living in that persona for a while. I would be surprised if that was all premeditated. I think insanity is very viable, and it's a tough defense usually.
We're just reading, crossing the wires, that prosecutors are suggesting the death penalty here. There are several ways you can do it. One is, Anne-Marie, multiple victims. Another is acts that are heinous, atrocious, and cruel. HAC is the acronym for that. Boy, if ever there was a death penalty case, this would be it.
Yeah, and I would be surprised if they don't ask for it. Because to compound the problem here, not only did he do heinous things at the movie theater, but what he had planned to have happen at the apartment on top of it. And this was so premeditated. This was so planned out. He spent months putting this together, putting the booby traps together so that whoever would have walked in there, potentially wouldn't have only killed a person who would have walked in, it would have killed whoever was on the floor and potentially the whole building, maybe even more. So, it's so awful what he did, and it goes beyond even just the movie theater. So I'd be very surprised if they don't ask for the death penalty.
This may come down to a battle of the psychiatric experts. Anne-Marie McAvoy, Janet Johnson, thank you both for being with us.
Thank you.
Martha?
Thank you.
We want to get a look at the Dow, which is under a lot of pressure this morning. It's down about 216 points right now. Couple things.